Well, the battery's low on this one. Anyway, we're off to the 100-acre woods and beyond. So let's see how it goes. Well, so far so good. Now we get into the off-road stuff. What am I seeing here? I'm seeing a snowbank right across the road. I don't like the looks of that. Buffalo are out and about. A couple of cobra chickens in there with the buffalo. I don't think I'm going to attempt that one. Not with two-wheel drive. Oh, can't hear them now above the sound of the highway traffic. Sandhill cranes were making quite a racket there. What is that? You know, it's almost like some kind of a twister went through here, because I found rotten boards that had blown off the floor of that loft down here on the ground. And there's yeah, they don't show up too well. '38 Pontiac. Used to have both headlights until somebody thought it would be fun to break it off. Engine's missing. I believe the transmission's still there. Your typical cracked and broken and welded fenders. And we got body by Fisher of Canada. All your GM bodies were made by Fisher. Interior's pretty rough. But what I notice is remarkably free of rust. You're gonna need a fuel tank flush. Yeah, a little surface rust here and there, not bad. Anyway, I better continue on in my search for deer antlers. And my trail is blocked. Not too sure what did this. Chewing the bark off a caragana. My best guess would be rabbits, possibly porcupine. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can push this thing aside, make room to get by. Otherwise, I'm going to have to turn around and go back out, climb uphill through a snowbank. So let's see how we do. More bark chewing activity. Looks like a whole lot of deer hair there from who knows what. Grass is all flattened out. These are what? Well, caraganas are trying to take over, but originally that was an apple tree. It used to produce some fairly decent, I think maybe they were crab apples, I'm not sure. But desperately in need of a little maintenance. I don't think they've produced anything for years now. Another one here. Oh yeah, we got some well-beaten trails here. These old yards, they say, are where the moose like to hang out. Although on this farm, there's no shortage of bushes for them to wander around or shelter from the storm in. Yeah, caraganas are taking over. I think I missed cutting here last year with the rotary mower. Well, it's not too late. These here will still go under. Like to save that little evergreen tree there. A volunteer came up all on its own from some of the cones and these big ones. And here we got a massive deadfall. I don't know what went on here. Whether it was part of the big wind that took down the boards on the barn or what, but yeah, that was a green living poplar, and it's literally uprooted from the ground along with those dead ones. This, I believe, is the old snow melter, if you can believe it. They used to actually burn wood in the bottom part there and throw snow in the top, and that was their method of watering the cattle on days when it was too cold and miserable for the cattle to go to the slough for water, or the snow was too deep or whatever. Now we got another little volunteer spruce coming up over here. Another one, another one, another one. Lots of these little spruce springing up here. I think these are the American elms here. What is this? Looks like the remains of a chunk of deer hide. Must have been a dead one out here somewhere during the winter. Well, no antlers, but no shortage of rocks. And you can probably hear the creek is running just a little. Still a little more snow to go. This is the area that I built up several years ago. There are many truckloads of rocks in here from behind the trike to just about up to that water, topped off with a nice layer of sandy gravel. So you can cross here pretty much any time of the year, whereas anywhere else in the creek, forget about it. You wouldn't believe it, but this used to be all cultivated land. I worked straight north and south, all the way to the south end of the field. When the wet years came along and this ground became too wet to work, and it laid for a year or two like that, and the willows took over. And now they're well beyond anything I can do with them. They're way too big for the rotary mower. Only thing to handle them is a tree mulcher, but as it stands right now, it's too wet to even think about getting in there. Even if you took the willows down, the ground would be too wet to do much with. The main thing I'm concerned with here is keeping this crossing, because there's 40 acres of hay over there that there's no other access to. So hopefully this will remain. Well, it's a good thing that was a downhill run through that snowbank, or I might have had problems. Once you get up in here, you got a well-beaten trail by the deer hunters. It's closed off with snow at that end, so I couldn't come in through there. Okay, loaded up, ready to head around home. Buffalo are watching me. See if we can zoom in on them. That's about all I got. Anyway, it's 12 Celsius, which I think is close to 60 Fahrenheit. And just about 5 o'clock, so I might have time to make it home and remove the snowblower from the tractor. We shall see. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one on the Roosty 6 channel.